What's happening, guys? This is Mike's Total Dragon channel. Tonight we have two more issues of Savage Dragon. Issue number 46, issue number 47. Been quite a while since I've been able to do any reviews or talk about any dragon, so I have a little bit of time tonight, and I figured I'll go ahead and jump right into it. So we'll go ahead and crack this one open. Savage Dragon number 46. As always, creator, writer, penciler, inker extraordinaire, Erik Larsen. We pick up Savage Dragon. Him and Jennifer are stranded on like this world of the gods. They're battling, trying to get back to Earth. Back in Chicago, we see Savage She-Dragon, Jennifer. Is it Jennifer? I can't remember what her name is. Or Amy, I'm sorry. She's fighting some evil crooks here. Finally, she looks like she knows what she's doing. Finally, she is able to put together some victories. She's acting competent, fighting these two characters here called the Rumble Brothers. She knocks these guys out. Howie gives her props. Says, maybe you weren't such a crappy replacement for Dragon after all. She puts a big kiss on him. And then he is left speechless. But, however, we see that he is not very happy about being kissed by her, because remember, he was the one who always hated the superpowered folks. He was a really big bigot, prejudice towards them and a bunch of other people. Meanwhile, we have a small conversation between Chris and Alex, Dragon's old partner, and he finally confesses to her that he was Star. He was the character in the costume, which she is very shocked by that. We'll see how that plays out here. We have some more stuff with Dragon on this God's planet. And they're just really, for all lack of a, lack of better term, they're just all just fighting for various reasons. There's no, Jennifer and Dragon crash landed here, and there's, basically all, the whole point is they're trying to get back to Earth, and the gods want to keep Jennifer there, and then it's just kind of really like a little pit stop on their journey back to Earth. And there's a big explosion right here that breaks it up, but the real drama in this issue is Alex's reaction to Chris keeping that secret about him being Star. She tells him it's over. You can drop dead, you son of a bitch. That's what you can do. I take this bad seriously. I guess I was wrong. And then she says, she's reading the riot act to Chris right here. She says, you expect me to trust you, to love you after that? We've been together for 1.5 years. And I find out I've been dating Bernard Gauthier, you goddamn vigilante piece of shit. So that definitely did not go the way Chris thought that was going to go. So then we cut back to this God's planet. And this is, I guess this guy right here is, he's like the super god. He's like a Galactus of gods. He says, I am the all god, a manifestation of elder gods who dwell in this land. So he basically tells Dragon and Jennifer, Debbie's staying here. She's one of us now. Dragon, of course, we all know how Dragon reacts to dealing with gods. Not very well. And then for his troubles, we see he just gets, we're going to skip this little part right here. Him and Jennifer just get blasted back to Earth. And we see this page here. This is always how we've seen this page numerous times with how the dragon returns to Earth. This is how the book started, him in this giant vacant field of fire. This time it's basically the same recreation, but with Jennifer with him. So this is basically Larson homaging himself, just like kind of like a self-reference to how Dragon appears. But we have here Lieutenant Frank Darling has been doing more investigation into where Dragon originally come from. This guy here, he tells Darling that he believes Dragon is extraterrestrial. He thinks that he's an alien. And Frank Darling says he doesn't, I don't believe any of this. When you get some more information, come check me out. So that kind of is just like a one and done scene. The guy's like, hey, I don't believe that, so see you later. So now they're just all like basically reunited or whatever. Debbie, Dragon, back on Earth. Meanwhile, we cut back to the other members of the SOS. Barbaric's complaining about his toys to Ricochet. Dragon meets Rock, and Rock tells him, hey, there's been some changes. We got some new members of the team or whatever. Then we've got a little subplot right here where Captain Mendoza, he runs into Swarm. And he says, I thought Agent Dragon or Amy Dragon was, incompetent. That's why you put her on the force. However, now it looks like she knows what she's doing. And then Swarm tells him, that's you need to take control of her. I'm running this place behind the scenes. So you've kind of got a little bit of this guy's pulling Mendoza's strings. But lo and behold, somebody's filming this. So somebody is wise or getting some information that Mendoza's on the take with Swarm. Dragon meets some of the newest members of the SOS. This is that really huge guy, Zeke, that he met that gave Dragon a run for his money. Super powerful guy. Then the last panel here just shows Chris as Star telling Dragon, look, I'm all in with being a vigilante, a superhero now. I'm not going to try to do the alter ego thing. So Alex telling him to piss off basically was the straw that broke the camel's back. And he says there's nothing left for me back home. So he's just going all in on this identity now. Now, I was thumbing through this issue and I come across a letter page here. And I'm going to single this one out not because it has anything to do with Savage Dragon, but Erik Larsen talks about an encounter he had with a UFO when he was a kid. And so this was kind of really out there for me. And I read it, and basically the gist of it is Larsen and a childhood friend of his were walking around a country road in the middle of the night. Something came up on them. They tried to jump into a ditch. Larsen jumped into the ditch to hide from it, but his buddy ends up getting caught with lights from the UFO, and they put the lights on him. And then Larsen, at the end of it, he goes, we talked about what we'd seen, and we couldn't think of anything from this planet that it could be. The lights, the noise, the abrupt humming. It was like nothing we'd ever heard of. In time, Chris had trouble remembering what it looked like. Now, Chris was the guy who got the closer of the closer encounters. And later still, Chris died of skin cancer. So that's really a crazy-ass story of Erik Larsen encountering a UFO. So I thought that letter and that particularly needed to be talked about, singled out. But outside of that, the letter page is just typical Savage Dragon letter page stuff. So we will wrap this issue up right here. Then we will go on to issue number 47 here. We open up. We got this really cool battle scene right here. Looks like Dragon's fighting this Iron Man looking dude here on the cover. Now this issue here has a couple of really cool scenes in it that I can't wait to show you guys. We got a great opening scene right here. Oh, look at that. Star's about 4 inches shorter than this guy and a good, I don't know, 30 pounds lighter. This isn't Star. It's Kill Cat. Who was that masked man? I expect it was Kill Cat. Of course, I've never seen him with his mask off, but the Kid Avenger has. And you'd ask him to sell out his old partner. We'll nail him. Be patient. So that's really weird that the last issue kind of leads us to believe that Star is, you know, foregoing his police officer day job and joining, but then Larsen pulls the rug out from underneath us and shows that it's Kill Cat. Now these are we have quite a bit of these pages right here in this issue where he's got 4, 8, 12, 16 panel pages right here. And he gets a phone call from Alex. And so basically she's kind of reading, she's kind of pissed off at Dragon. The Dragon didn't tell her that Chris was Star. And Dragon says, hey, that's not my secret to tell. And, you know, would you spill my girlfriend's secret if you thought it might wreck our relationship? Who do you think gave you the tape of Rapture? And he kind of has a pause right there. Don't tell me that was you. No, it was Ray, but you get my point. So then they basically just get the rundown. This is all like catch-up stuff or whatever. Then we have yet another page of the same thing right here. So he uses, you frequently see these types of pages and these types of the way they use these pages and panels to show like a fast-paced conversation, or, you know, because the way you have to read it, it really reads quickly, kind of very Brian Michael Bendis style, that ping pong style dialogue, and it's really using to great effect here. And he does it a couple times in this issue, I believe. So we've got Dart, Super Patriot right here. And she says, Dart says to Super Patriot, I know Rapture's death really shook you. I miss her too, but the fight must go on. I've been fighting all my life. So I'm not really sure why Super Patriot would take Rapture's death very hard, because they weren't shown as being terribly close here in this book. Maybe they were closer in Freak Force, the Freak Force book. So that's kind of strange or whatever. Then we have another example of this 16 panel grid. Barbaric shows up and he's kind of just he is kind of just trying to pick Dragon's brain about what happened in outer space. He's kind of hinting around, you know, he's kind of hinting around, did he hook up with Jennifer? You know, kind of dropping not so subtle hints. And then Dragon finally says, all right, enough, buddy. And they start throwing hands to get into it. So they have like a roll call here. They're about to go on mission. We got Super Patriot, Dart, Zeke, Jennifer, Rock, Kid Avenger, Horridus, so this is all just mission prep stuff. Dragon says, hey, I'm the leader here. I'm still not wearing a costume. He's got on a suit and tie. And they're basically going to what is called Lieberham, a Latveria style country. They're going to fight Dread Knight, I'm sorry. Super Patriot says he's a master of robotics. So we got some really good action stuff here. We have this big bandaged mummy. Dragon references the time he met Hellboy. Then he opens fires. He opens fire with his machine gun. The gun doesn't work. So now he's just flipping around, throwing shit at the mummy. I got an advertisement for a Jackie Chan comic book right here. Zeke takes out the big mummy. But Dart gets caught in this blast and evaporates her legs. Super Patriot reacts to it. Jill! So she falls, or that's Super Patriot right there. That's Kid Avenger and Dread Knight. Fall down to the ground. Dragon gets on top of him. Beats the hell out of him. And then they see right here, Dragon says, damn, he's dead. His armor was running on its own. He's been dead all along. Trouble Dragon, shutting his armor down, has triggered a countdown. We gotta go. We get out of here. So now they're all just in a, trying to get to the ship so they can get out before it blows up. Dragon says, how's Dart? The heat of the blast cauterized the wound. She's in shock. Dart tells Super Patriot, don't leave me. Don't ever leave me. And then we're back here. Mission's over. And then you kind of get like a recap of everything that happened after the fact. So a very fast-paced issue. You know, they set up a team to go on a mission. Dart gets her legs blowed off. And then they're back. And that's the end of it. Dragon says, hey, I got to go to Chicago. I want to try to find She-Dragon. He's told no. We've got obligations, priorities. We can't go after every cat stuck up in a tree. Dragon, of course, Dragon doesn't take that well, and he walks out. He's going to do his own thing. So that is a wrap-up of this particular issue. The big fallout from this issue is Dart has had her legs blown off. Then we have like these little dossier pages of the superheroes. Heridius, a breakdown of Mighty Man, the different versions of Mighty Man. So that is issue number 47 of Savage Dragon. Kind of a one and done type story. The big fallout. Dart has no more legs anymore. They've been blown away. So we get to see how that pans out later on. So that is 2 more issues of Savage Dragon in the can. 46 and 47. So till next time, you guys take care. Talk to you later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.